Guest Wi-Fi. I hate this.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
I know words, I have the best words.
He took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned.
Take a look at the oranges of the... Look, wait. They sacrifice every day for the furniture.
Some words that have been said about you.
Okay. Nazi wine mom, Nazi cave woman.
I don't let name calling bother me or offend me.
This one's from someone across the pond, a daft wanker. That's British for stupid. Lives on a diet of glue sticks. A lower level life form.
Fifth Zephyrhide.
He's a war hero because he was captured.
Welcome, comrades, to Left is Right, another installment of our little show. I hope everybody is having a good week. I hope that, people enjoy watching. And if not, send us an email anyway. We'll take it into consideration for 6.9 seconds and see what happens. I'm your host. My name is Steve Weekly. My co-host and the co-hostess with the mostest information is Dawn Weekly. And hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Well, I guess we will start this show by speaking on the topic of Donald Trump's trials, getting an update as to what has happened there.
Well, this week, the big news was that Stormy Daniels testified, and basically said that they had sex and she took money to not say anything about it during the 2016 election season, and that and she described the event saying that while it wasn't exactly rape, it wasn't exactly consensual either. And part of her testimony was that he had a Forbes magazine that had him on the cover, and he wanted her to roll it up and swat him with it. That was cool.
Yeah, I know that I heard that Colonel Bone Spurs is a bareback champion.
Yes, also unprotected, that's correct. And she gave a lot of details of the event, a lot of specific things that she remembered, like about things in the room and what he was wearing and stuff like that. But
she did make a point of specifically stating that it did not last long.
Yes, it was a brief encounter. And he called her Honey Bunch.
Honey Bunch, yes.
And wanted to do it again.
Yep, wanted to do it again. Well, that goes for most guys. Most guys would like to do it again. With or without coercion. So.
But then following the lunch break, the defense moved for mistrial
Yeah.
Based on the fact that she had, testified too much, given too much information, and it would prejudice the jury. And the judge basically said, "Well, I didn't hear you object to anything, so that's kind of on you."
Right, and I guess the technical reason they gave was that the some of the information was like had come to her at a later time, and before they had her testify, they tried to get that information admissible, and his lawyers fought it, and basically screwed themselves by fighting it, because if they'd have let it in, they could have possibly. I'm just going off of what I heard on MSNBC, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, is anybody surprised?
I mean, he seems to be saying, the defense seems to be saying, no, it never happened. We never had sex. Nope, never happened.
Right.
Like, then why did you pay her $130,000?
Exactly.
What? Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. But that's not the point. And the point is, even if it didn't happen and she was just threatening to say that, the fact that he paid her off and then hid the payment and falsified business records is the crime. Whether or not they had sex isn't the issue.
Right. Whether she's trying to, blackmail him or not, he still committed a crime.
Yeah, the crime is later.
Right.
By hiding the payment, falsifying records, saying it was legal expenses and it was not, and in order to affect the election.
Right.
If he would have claimed it, I guess that would have been, at least it would have been, better. If he would have claimed it as, I had to pay this blackmail money. Put it on his election paperwork. This is what campaign funds are spent on. Whatever.
Right. She also, they also made a point to show that when it first happened, when it first happened, he didn't pay her any hush money for, what was it? Almost.
It happened in 2006, and it was almost 10 years later.
Yeah, almost 10 years later, all of a sudden he's paying her, to stay quiet. It's like.
Right. It had nothing to do with hiding it from Melania. It had to do with the election.
Right.
Which is part of it. So timing was telltale timing.
Yeah.
Even if they, and it doesn't really matter whether they did or didn't, or whether that was true, or whether it is a tiny little mushroom or whatever. None of that's actually relevant, but.
Right. I mean, it's funny for us, but.
Yeah. It's great tidbits for us, but it makes it more interesting to have all those little details. But of course, she didn't testify about the little mushroom cap or anything.
No.
She couldn't give those types of details. But
yeah, I'm just hoping that at some point somebody has to testify about his nickname. President Von Schitz's Pants.
Yeah, that was read into the official court record by his defense attorney.
Yep.
Von Schitz's Pants. And that is awesome. That is a great nickname.
Yes.
So there must
I think that just now, whether he's found guilty or not, it's like at least we got that out of it.
That golden nugget.
Yeah.
There must be something to that rumor. Otherwise, why would that keep persisting?
Yeah. No, there's got to be something to it.
Yes. Yes.
I also, I think maybe that he might be losing steam in some of his support because there's, Republican governors coming out saying, they're not going to vote for him.
Yes, the former lieutenant governor of Alabama, whose name escapes me, came out and said that he was going to vote for Biden, and setting the hair on fire of many Trumpers. But did you see who else said that they were going to vote for Biden? Former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
Well, crazy.
Yeah, the guy who went after Speaker of the House, he went to Fox News.
Yeah,
that guy ain't voting for Trump. That guy.
Right. I mean, well, let's face it. None of those Fox News people, on-air people, none of them are going to vote for him.
Right. They're just helping his campaign by constantly spewing.
Well, they're just being whores. They're just being whores for money.
They're saying things that they don't believe.
Yeah, for money.
Please their audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they can live with themselves, great. But I couldn't. In other Trump trial news, the dingbat in Florida has indefinitely postponed the documents case.
Yeah.
Any idea on what that's about?
Yeah, it's Judge Dingbat giving it to Trump. I mean, that's what that's about. It's her ruling was that there was way too many things to determine. But apparently, and I don't practice in federal court, but apparently what she's doing is completely outside the realm of normal in federal court, where you always have a trial date. You might set it back, but you always have a trial date on schedule. So what she's doing is kind of is different than normal process. And also all of the motions and things that have to be determined before you can go ahead with the trial, well, if she would determine them,
right,
they wouldn't be sitting there. They're undetermined because she hasn't made a determination.
Correct. Yeah.
So she's the one gumming up the works and then saying, "Oh, we can't move forward because there's all this stuff we got to figure out first."
Right. Some talking head somewhere, I don't know if it's CNN or MSNBC, where they were talking, that a lawyer on, and he was talking about this could be the opening that the Justice Department needs to get it out of her hands and move to the appellate court or some shit.
I don't, like I said, I don't practice in federal court, but I don't think that is an appealable ruling because it's not a final ruling. Okay. But there may be some other procedural mechanism by which they can ask for some kind of relief. I'm not aware of what it is.
Yeah, which amendment is it that, or
Seventh
what
Amendment?
part of the law is it that says that you're entitled to a speedy trial?
Yeah, I think that's the Seventh Amendment, speedy trial.
Yeah,
it's completely contrary because it's the right is of the people and the defendant. So,
right.
Yeah, so that would be good. But it, maybe they could do a motion for recusal, and that would be a tough motion. But at this point, I mean, it seems, I'm not sure how you could make it more obvious that she's just
in the bag,
incompetent, or making rulings in Trump's favor, one or the other.
Well, I got a feeling that if Von Schützenpants doesn't win, there's a good chance she's going to be booted. There's a good chance that people are going to get together and call for her impeachment. Get her out of there.
You know, I think that she has shown that she's, if anything, that she's not qualified. And she was rated not qualified to begin with. I mean, you know, right. It's not like that's a big change.
Right.
But,
this is just too hard. I'm just going to ignore it for a while. Oh. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Redonkulous.
Yes, very.
Has there been any movement in Georgia as to what's happening
there? No, they're still waiting on the immunity claim at the Supreme Court, I believe, on that one and the one in D.C.
Oh, okay. So everything. So the only Trump that is going to move is the one that is already moving.
Yes. Yeah. Because, of course, the Supreme Court, which also has their thumbs on the scale, is going to wait until the very last moment to put out any kind of ruling on that appeal that they took on the very last day of session.
Yeah. You don't really think there's any chance that they'll find in favor of him?
I don't think that they'll find outright in favor of him. I think that they will, you know, split the baby. And I can't remember who I heard giving the analysis, but basically they're going to remand it back to district court and say, if, like, give him some kind of immunity if it's within the scope of his job. So because there is an agency theory where you can sue somebody, you know, like if you want to sue the UPS driver because he hits you with his car while he's driving, in order for him to be you know, he has to be acting within the scope of his job in order to like sue the company kind of thing. So there might be, I think that they're going to create some kind of test like that where you have immunity if what you're doing is within the scope of your job.
Yeah, your official job.
It is an official part of your job. And send it back to district court for them to determine whether plotting the overthrow of the government is part of the president's job. But it seems really clear that, like, calling the Secretary of State of different offices and saying, I just need you to find me so many votes is not a part of his job as president. No,
it's his job as candidate.
Coming up with this elector scheme, the Green Bay, whatever it was, sweep. That's a political thing that you're doing politically to try to get reelected. That has nothing to do with being president.
Right.
And running the executive function of the government. That's not part of that. So I think ultimately his immunity claim fails, even if they carve out this little, well, if it's part of his official job. So like the thing that I was thinking was like when Obama gave the order to take out Osama bin Laden. So now, you know, like, can Osama bin Laden's family sue Barack Obama? And of course not, because he was doing his job.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Although part of me wants them to go ahead and find in favor of him, then Biden will send in SEAL Team 6, take his ass out.
Right. Or just send SEAL Team 6 to Clarence Thomas's house and make him feel uncomfortable.
Well, use SEAL Team 5 and 6 and take care of both problems. Man, we are in deep shit for talking like that. You know that, right?
You're going
Look,
to
we got a viewer. It's probably the NSA.
just edit that part out, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Do that in post-production. Just edit that part out.
I don't know. We got a viewer. It's probably the NSA.
I don't think so. I don't think Debbie's with the NSA.
Okay. No, we're kidding. Gosh, we're kidding.
We have to wish a very happy birthday coming up for our viewer.
Yes.
Again on Sunday.
It is my beautiful wife's 23rd birthday coming up. I like him young. I'm sorry. I know I look old. I'm only 30, so. But yes, a very happy soon-to-be birthday to my lovely wife. And anybody else who's out there, just send us an email, and we'll get you on the show next time. We'll do it like the local radio station and do.
You watch the whole show, and it's your birthday. We'll sing "Happy Birthday" to you at the end.
Yes, absolutely. Or we'll do it like the local radio station here, and we'll do birthdays and anniversaries. Oh, maybe we can get that sponsored by somebody. But yeah, no, even some of the talking head lawyers are saying that yes, the wheels of justice move slowly, but this is beyond the pale. And
not really.
Huh?
Not really. The slow part beyond the pale was the 2 years it took Merrick Garland's Justice Department to move.
Get it up and going.
That's the slow part that's beyond the pale. The actually going through court part is pretty normal.
Yeah, no, I see your point. Yeah, I mean, what kind of why would Merrick Garland not be pissed off and willing to just speed that up? I'm sorry, but damn appearances. Get the son of a bitch.
I guess it's that. Do you remember? Do you remember when Michael Avenatti first came on the scene?
Yes.
And one of the reasons that people were like, oh my gosh, and kind of like eating up everything he said was because he was really like the first person to go, that's a dirtbag.
Right.
Because nobody was saying that. Because you would never talk like that about a president or a presidential. That was like we didn't talk like that. We didn't say those things.
Right.
And perhaps Merrick Garland is still living in that land where the Justice Department isn't going to go after a president because that's not what you do. You just don't do those things.
You do if he's done what he's done.
Right. I mean, if you don't break laws, the Justice Department won't investigate you. That seems really like that makes a lot of common sense. But specifically, there was this bright line of we don't want to make anything look like it's a political witch hunt because they'll claim, Trumpers are claiming that it is anyway. But this is really no big kabumba, and he really didn't do anything wrong. And people get arrested for falsifying business records
all the time. Right.
All the time.
Right.
Why would it be any different for him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to. Our next topic is going to be student protests. So stay tuned, stay with us, and we shall return.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner! Go.
Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
Everybody in a work zone is someone's somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
911, operator 901. Where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushrooms.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
Do you know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Okay, is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Hello, and we are back. I still have to fix that commercial package because it's hard to be happy-go-lucky after that last commercial. Sorry about that, folks. All right, now on to their next topic, the student protests.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the protest arena?
Well, I'm getting tired of it. How about you?
What?
I said I'm getting tired of it. How about you? I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other about this topic. I think that Hamas is horrible, and what they did on October 7th is awful, and that the people who have been kidnapped, if they're still alive, should be returned. I think that's a pretty sensible view, sensible way to think of it. On the other hand, Israel has killed 100 people for every person who was killed on October 7th. They've decimated Gaza, and now there's going to be widespread famine, and more people are going to die. And I think that that's bad. And I think it's also bad because I think Netanyahu is part of the reason that he's doing this is for his own benefit, so that he doesn't have to face the consequences of his actions, which have gotten him in trouble. So he's doing it to stay in power. So that is reprehensible. period. I don't care what religion he is or what nationality, that's reprehensible. So I don't think that saying that makes me anti-Semitic. And I'm really tired of people accusing people who are just seeing things from that viewpoint. I'm tired of those people being called anti-Semitic. On the other hand, some of the kids going too far. Sometimes, yeah, I think so. But I do think that people have a right to protest. They have a right to free speech. And if they want to protest and tell their college that they want them to divest, they want themselves, the colleges to divest their investments out of Israeli things, Israeli investments, Israeli-backed investments. They have a right to make that protest, and they have a right to make that request, because that's a request that maybe will move the needle on making a change in the world. That's what happened with apartheid. That was what the protests were about for apartheid, and they protested long and hard before anything actually ever happened, but they did it for a long time. However, police were not called in when that happened. On the other hand, can they? So there's, we were talking about this with Dad. Should they be allowed to do disruptive protesting where they occupy an area or take over an area, or that kind of thing? And I think the answer is yes. However, if you trespass or occupy a place where you're not supposed to be, there are consequences, and so you must face those consequences. It doesn't have to rise to the level of a skirmish, as long, peaceful protesting. So you got your point across, now you get arrested, and now you go on with your life.
You don't have to graffiti. You don't have to graffiti up the place and do that kind of crap.
Right. The whole reason, not the whole reason, but one of the reasons that the civil rights protests were successful was because of the protesters and how they afforded themselves. They sat at the lunch counter when they were not supposed to, and they stayed and they would not leave, and then they peaceably got arrested. And the only people who were engaging in violence or disruptive acts or reprehensible behavior were the bigots. And so,
just so everybody knows, that's Whitey.
That's Whitey. Yes.
Whitey.
White. Right.
Those crackers.
In all the still pictures that you see in the history books, that's the people who were vociferously yelling at the black people who were protesting.
You're right, but not in Florida. No, those pictures are textbooks in Florida.
Oh, yeah, not in the, yeah, right. But, all the time there's that picture of the angry person yelling because they're unhappy about their racism being disrupted. But, that's part of the reason why the civil rights movement was successful, was because they accorded themselves in a peaceful and nonviolent and respectful manner. And, college kids, if you want to really have your point heard, that's what you need to do. Martin Luther King was correct. Gandhi was correct. The anarchists are wrong. The only thing you're going to do if you engage in destruction of property or anything like that is you're going to lose your argument. People will be against you just because of the way you acted, not due to the validity of your argument.
Right.
That being said, I do watch Morning Joe while I'm at work. I have it on my phone and it's just running in the background, just for noise. And I am getting sick to death of Morning Joe and his preaching about the protests and how the students need to knock it off. They don't need to knock it off. They have a right to protest. I strongly recommend that they should do it in a certain way if they want to have their point heard, but they still have the right to do it. So every time Morning Joe, he's always got some kind of Anti-Defamation League person on there. And what about the what do you call people who are kidnapped? What about the
hostages?
Hostages. Please, can't even think of the word hostage. What about the hostages? That goes without saying. We are concerned about the hostages. No more than I'm concerned about journalists who are hostages in Russia. It's all bad. But your bad isn't worse than other people's bad. It's all bad. And if I could, fly off on my broomstick and make it all different, I would, but I can't. I support your efforts, but that doesn't mean that you have to quell and shut down the protesters.
Right.
But they just need to come to grips with the fact that if they want to be successful, their path to success is doing it the right way.
Yeah, because Biden, they went too far, and Biden is
now he's coming back the other way. He had swung to their favor. Now he's coming back the other way.
Yeah, because they took it too far.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and there is evidence that those protesters and that are anti-Semitic. There are anti-Semitic things happening.
There could be because they're people who have a Palestinian background. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say that I'll bet you dollars to donuts that is coming from outside agitators as much as anything.
And that could be too.
Yeah.
And if you were in a student protest and that is going on, you need to disassociate yourself from that protest. Maybe start one of your own over here that is not anti-Semitic.
Right.
I mean, it's not that hard, people.
Right.
It's just, but by the same token, there are also anti-Palestinian people too.
Absolutely.
There's both sides anti stuff, because they're enemies. I mean, they have opposite viewpoints, and they're very, if it wasn't for their darn religions, they would maybe wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why do you think it is that the British decided that Palestine is now going to be Israel? Whose idea was that? You couldn't have cut them off a little hunk of Germany and said, here you go?
I don't know. I know the British were not overlords, but occupying that area at that time.
Well, there was Jewish settlements in Palestine.
Yeah.
But was it the 50s or I don't remember if it was quite the 50s when they did that. And it was the British that did it, basically.
I thought it was the Allies, all three of them together.
Well, yes, but the British took control. I mean, it was under British control.
Oh, okay.
It was like a United Nations thing, but the British were running it. And that's something I do wish I had more and better information on.
Yeah, I don't have detailed information on that either.
Because, they sure as heck weren't thinking that through very well. But then again, it was the British, and back then they didn't really think things through very well.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Cool topic that I actually know more about than you. This is a watershed moment. And it didn't include a firing order. That's all talk for you, just so you're aware. The next topic is one that you are just started researching, but give us a just an idea of what to look forward to in the future.
So
Project 2025.
Yeah, so the project that I've made for myself is to go through Project 2025. And I have started on the foreword and am going through it. Sorry. My allergies are kicking my butt today. For those who don't know, Project 2025 is a tome, 900 plus pages, written by contributors and published by the Heritage Foundation. That is basically a roadmap for the conservative right as to what they will do starting day one of a Republican presidency, no matter who the president is. This is their plan that they intend to implement going forward.
Yeah, it's the roadmap to fascism. That's what I've heard it described as.
Yeah. There are specific changes that they basically they are all in and doubling down on the unitary executive theory that the president should be the one who holds all the power. All the power. Number one. But but there's different it is a kind of like a blueprint. And actually this is the second time that they've done this. The first time was in 1979. And they're what drove the Reagan administration and the changes that were made in the Reagan administration. And how good were those changes? Huh?
Trickle-down economics, removal of all regulation.
Right? So
yeah, those were awesome.
Yeah, so this has got to be great, right? It's called, the book is actually called Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise, but AKA Project 2025.
I mean, those people that contributed to that, how many of them do you think are going to be president and actually be able to wield that power?
Well, that's not why they were doing it. They want these things to happen when a Republican president is elected.
Okay.
I mean, they don't, none
what if that Republican president turns on them?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They've totally taken any of their power away.
Oh,
they did it to themselves.
If the Republican's going to be conservative, so he wouldn't do anything bad to them. Parker Stathatos at the Texas Public Policy Foundation knows that whoever is elected as president is going to be working for him.
No, if you give him all the power, he no longer needs you.
Well, that's not what John Zadrozny from America First Legal Foundation thinks. He thinks that the Republican president is just going to do their bidding and always remain on their side because, once you do this, nobody will ever want a Democrat again. So we will have perpetual power. Yeah.
And an all-powerful executive who no longer is beholden to you for anything.
Right. Basically upsetting all of the checks and balances that were put into place. But, details. So far in the foreword, what I can report to you is that the big ills that they feel the nation is facing are Inflation, drug overdose deaths, children suffering the toxic normalization of transgenderism with drag queens and pornography invading school libraries, and low-income communities that are drowning in addiction and government dependence. Those are the problems of today, not, income.
Well, I mean,
not the separation of the middle class. None of those are problems. What are problems are these things.
Shouldn't they have to footnote examples, real life facts and examples of those problems?
Well, no, they're not writing it to convince you of the problem. They're just stating this is the problem, and here's what we're going to do about it.
But those aren't problems because those aren't real. I mean, I know that I've been going to all my drag shows in the school library myself.
But there's different forms of writing, and you're saying as if this was persuasive writing, like they are trying to convince you of their side. That's not what this is.
No, I know it's a manifesto. I understand.
Yeah, and school libraries having drag queens and pornography. School sounds a lot more exciting than when I went. I don't remember any of that from when I was in school.
I mean, we did have that one librarian that, was a cross-dresser, but he never brought it into school.
I have no idea.
He never brought it into work.
Yeah, but so that's a problem. It doesn't even exist. I name one school library that has had a drag queen in there or that has pornography in it.
Well, anytime the kids are there because they're all on their phones looking at Pornhub, but it's not like they're checking out Playboy.
Teenage boys, need I say more? And
not all boys.
Inflation has, gotten, has escalated in the past couple of years, but that's not the number one overarching problem. It's income disparity. And
quit calling it inflation. It's not inflation. It hasn't been from the beginning.
Yeah, right now we got greedflation going on, record profits and costs going up.
It's price gouging. It has been from the beginning.
Right. But so right away, this tome their forward is that they're going to address these problems so that they can
fix them.
Save the children. Because in early 1979, they brought together hundreds of conservative scholars and academics to create a 20-volume, 3,000-page governing handbook containing more than 2,000 conservative policies to reform the federal government and rescue the American people from Washington dysfunction. Well, problem solved. We should no longer have Washington dysfunction, according to them.
They already took their shot in 79.
They already fixed the problem. What the heck?
And they had 8 years of a Republican president. How did they not get it fixed?
Right?
Take that back.
By the end of 1981, the year that Reagan was installed, by the end of 1981, more than 60% of the recommendations in that handbook had been implemented.
Right, and they had 12 years of presidents. How would they not finish it off? I mean, that's ridiculous. If you're that incompetent, why should you? If they were that incompetent the first time, why should they think they deserve another bite at the apple?
Conservatives should be confident that we can rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the anti-American left at home and abroad. We did it before, and we will do it again. Well, if you did it before, what happened?
They did it before by using scare tactics in the Soviet Union. And they did it to a point where they almost forced the Soviet Union to attack first.
If they saved our kids and got rid of Washington dysfunction, then why do you have another handbook?
Right.
Why do you need more changes?
Right.
Because of those 60% of changes that they made by 1981, I bet like almost 100% of them are still in place.
Yeah.
Well, why are we here?
Yeah. I think that whole thing is a manifesto written by a few ideologues, espousing their beliefs to a small minority of idiots.
Yeah.
Because the one who's really been pushing that is, Marjorie Taylor Idiot. And every time she opens her mouth, everybody laughs at her. Everybody thinks she's a complete moron.
Neanderthal.
Yeah. That's what everybody thinks every time she spouts any of that shit.
Although you'll note that every time she says something, there's a gaggle of people up there with microphones. Tell me what
because they're media whores, and that's their job. The 24-hour news cycle has created nothing but media whores.
Yeah.
They don't actually report on anything important. It's disgusting. Well, I am looking forward to more updates on the roadmap to fascism in the near future. Now, let's turn to everybody's favorite topic, the solution segment. And I understand that we have two solution ideas.
Well, of course, we have the national popular vote that everybody should be supporting. A long-term solution effort. But I was also talking with someone today who told me that they were writing postcards to swing states to help save democracy. And come to find out, there is indeed a website called Postcards to Swing States, a progressive turnout project initiative. Help write postcards to voters in 11 key states. And you provide the stamps and you write out the postcards and you mail them. And we've got the website on there. But basically, that's it. You just sign up to do the postcards and you send them out. You can also contribute. They also have a menu for work with us and get involved. So that's also an option. But the person that I was speaking with really enjoyed making a contribution. And she felt like she was doing something and contributing and helping out. So I would say, you want to look at and seeing about getting involved with, because it's something that's easy and doesn't necessarily take money other than you need to buy stamps for postcards.
Right.
And
now that they don't make you lick them, I could even handle putting a stamp on a postcard. Right.
I will also mention that they have a very nice shop page that's got some swag. There's a nice coffee cup with Trump's mugshot, and it says guilty. And there's one with his mugshot, and it says vote Biden.
I think we will. I think we'll send them this episode, and maybe they could wet our beak a little.
Right.
Little swag.
Because I would really like that. They got a T-shirt that's got the definition of democracy on it, and it says democracy, noun, definition: everyone gets to vote.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The problem is most Trumpers don't have the ability to read, so don't know what good that's doing. But
No, stop it. But it's part of Progressive Turnout Project. And that's what I came up with for our solutions this week, was that. Now, and by the way, I will have to say, I think it's your turn to come up with a solution next time. Why do
I have tried and tried and tried. But the only solution I ever seem to be able to come up with is the 50-cent solution.
Which is?
Well,
If it's violent, you better not say it. Is it what I'm thinking?
I think that's what you're thinking.
Does it involve one projectile?
Just saying. Just saying. But okay, I will attempt to look for some solutions.
Excellent. But that's our solution. Our solution suggestion for this week.
Awesome. While we're at it, let's go ahead and explain the national popular vote a little more, so that people can understand it a little better.
So revisit that a little bit. So national popular vote is an effort that has been ongoing for a while. I've known about it for at least 10 years. But the national popular vote bill would guarantee that whoever wins the popular vote for president, whoever gets the most popular votes in all 50 states, wins the election, and we ignore the electoral college. We get rid of that. Don't get rid of it. It's still there. But we just replace that whole process with national popular vote. And this is something that needs to be enacted by each state. And once there is, so once it is enacted by 270 electoral votes, so states with electoral votes adding up to 270, once those states have enacted the national popular vote, then it goes into effect. So not every state has to do this. Not every state has to vote for it. Right now, there are 209 electoral votes. States with 209 electoral votes have passed bills to say they want their state to join the national popular vote movement or whatever.
Do you have a what states have passed it and what states need to pass it? Do you have that information?
Yeah. There's links with 50 different states. They don't have it like all in one. They don't have it in one like easy chart. Let me see. Maybe they do.
They should.
Let me see here. It might be here. 18 jurisdictions possessing 209 votes. So where it has been enacted: District of Columbia, Delaware, Hawaii, Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, Colorado, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, California, Illinois, and New York. Note, very few states below the Mason-Dixon line. Okay, then.
Well, let's see. We should be able to get Oregon and Wisconsin. You would think.
If we could get Texas and Florida, that would do it. but the odds are low.
Yeah, yeah, more than a little.
Yeah. So in Idaho, Wyoming, Iowa, Indiana, South Carolina, Florida, and Texas, there has been a bill introduced to their state legislatures, but it hasn't even gotten a hearing. In Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Missouri, Nebraska, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Utah, and Alaska, the bill has been introduced and received at least one hearing by at least one legislative committee. So basically, it's gone to the hearing level. In Nevada, it has passed both legislative chambers. So I'm not sure why that it hasn't been enacted then.
Probably been
passed both legislatures. Oh, so I guess maybe the governor just didn't sign it.
Yeah.
Then in Arizona, Oklahoma, Michigan, Arkansas, Virginia, and North Carolina, one legislative chamber has passed it, but the other one has not, and it has not been signed.
Okay. Well, now if we get some folks viewing it and you heard your state, get on them.
Yeah.
Get to this website and see what you can do. That website is www.nationalpopularvote.com.
Yep. And if you can, write to your state legislators and encourage them to back that. I just kind of help that along. That we just need 61 more electoral college votes, maybe 3 or 4 more states, and we would have a national popular vote.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was that close, but now that it's getting this close, they should start putting the full court press on.
Yes.
It'd be nice if shows other than Left is Right were espousing it, but we're going to do our part.
Well, Tom Hartman fans have heard about the national popular vote for a long time as well. So. All
right. Well, I'll give you that. He might have
peas in a pod.
He might have a little more of a reach than we do. Slightly
more. A couple more listeners than we have.
But all right. Well, once again, a pretty good show. I think we're getting the hang of this. Anything you'd like to say before we vamoose?
I just, tell all your friends and neighbors because, my husband has been watching a podcast of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I can see up in the corner, it says 32,577 subscribers.
That's
watching people play Dungeons and not even playing, you're just watching other people play a game. So we should be able to get, 10 followers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you have suggestions for the show or want information or things of that nature, you can reach us at Left is Right 2021 at gmail.com. I will have to make a thing to put up for that at some point, but that'll be for next show.
We're also on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. Threads. Yes. Left is Right.
Awesome. So reach out. Let us know what you think. And we'll do our best to make everybody happy. So until next week, this has been us. That's been you. We will see you then.
I needed money, 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
That's right, because all glory is not to government, all glory to God.
Until I got indicted, I never talked this way about him. You probably know. Until I got, who is this? Is he a friend? You can get him out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go ahead, you can throw him out.
I needed money, 'cause I had none. I fought the law.